Welcome everyone to this conversation that I feel like I continuously have. It is on 9/11 and I'm going to break down a few things for you. I'm going to revisit a dream that I had in 2021. And I know I've shared it somewhere in here, but where exactly? Good question. You can watch all the videos. I don't have that many, so it may take you a few hours to go through them all to find it, but I have talked about this before. So I'm going to share that with you first. And then I'm going to share with you Amanda Grace's information that she had recently on her video. Her video is way more in depth, and if you want to check hers out, feel free to, because you really have to pay attention. She goes through all the number stuff. I don't do all that. In this video specifically, I'm going to show you how there was a connection between what God specifically told me in a dream in 2021 to fast forward to today. I was actually watching a video that she posted 4 days ago. I was, kind of catching up because I watched part of it but didn't finish it. And so I was listening to it as I was doing laundry, and she said a phrase, and I literally out loud went, whoa, paused it, rewound, screen recorded, because I was like, if I don't do this now, I'll forget where it was in here and I'd have to re-listen to everything. But I knew it was exactly the same wording that God shared with me many years ago. Okay, so here is the dream. Now, I know for sure that I shared about Israel before. And this dream that I had where I was on a college campus, this was May 16th, 2021. On my other part it says May 2nd. I think that's just the beginning of it. But May 16th is the actual date of this dream. And it started out where I was at a college campus, and I mentioned before in one of the other videos on here talking about Israel, because that's what the main focus was. I wasn't focused on this second half, so I'm going to quickly go through the Israel part. All right, so let me quickly go through it. At a college campus, we send off a young minister that was under our care, and he does pastor somewhere else now. That's an old video when I explained all this already in great detail. Ryan and I were on the campus. We were eating food, watching the news. Then I go outside and I look up at the sky, and it's the Israel sky. I just know it to be that. And I saw the dome that Ronald Reagan, that's another, the Lord just brought something else to me. Okay, continuing on. The dome that Ronald Reagan had set up that helps prevent bombs from coming and striking Israel. That was what I was seeing, and that there was a problem with it. So I still have no idea why Catherine Lowe is in this, but she is. Maybe the Lord will reveal it in pieces like he has been this entire time. But she was with me, and we were looking at it and saying how horrible it must be to be right there right now, and we need to pray for those who were in Israel. I zoomed in, looked at the sky, saw that the dome had been destroyed, and then I said if a bomb were to go in it, that would be horrible. And then the worst thing possible happened. It went through, and I shouted out, no, Catherine Lowe fell, all at the same time. And then I saw a huge satellite that had thousands of panels on it, but those panels were actually stacks of paper, which I knew to be like tons of information that was going to go out to everybody. Like this information was, it was going to reveal things that had been hidden for like many years. And I knew that some of it was to be related to Hillary Clinton and exposing different things. So when Israel got hit, it shook the satellite, and the papers, along with Catherine, fell and went everywhere. And my heart raced as I saw her fall. And there was a woman that fell with her. I don't know who that person was, and I had no way of stopping it. The dream stopped, and this is where we're going to pick up from what is connected to what Amanda Grace said in her most recent video. So this part I know I have mentioned before somewhere else. Besides, it's probably that specific video where I'm explaining this first part. So I'm just going to read verbatim because it was an odd piece of information after just watching this happen. And then it was like, oh, and here's this. And it didn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. It says, I was in California visiting with a friend of mine and his family. We were at a park and everything was fine. And then in the distance, I could see New York City. And here's where it continues. Another 911 situation happened. I watched as airplanes flew into buildings yet again. I was shocked. I could see it so clearly, and I remembered in a dream that I asked God, why was I seeing this again? Because I'd already seen it before when I was younger in a separate dream, like I was as if I was rewatching it occur. So at this point, I'm watching this happen, and in my mind, I'm having like this conversation with God. God, 9/11 has already happened. Why am I watching this again? And then I'm also saying, I've already seen this in a dream before, and it did come to pass. Why am I seeing this again? Like, what's the significance of it? And God told me, he said, it will happen again, but in a different way. And that is the line that specifically Amanda Grace herself said in her video a few days ago. And that phrasing, saying that 9/11 was going to happen again, but in a different way. And I had no idea what that meant because I was watching it all occur and it looked similar, but I could tell that it was different. So now I'm going to share with you the screen recording that I did of that specific moment where she mentioned that, so that you can audibly hear what she said. And then I'll talk about it here in just a minute.
I'm going to take you back to January for a minute. Reagan International Airport, January 29th, 2025. That within that date is 9/11. 2 plus 9 is 11. 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. And American Airlines, American Eagle collides with a Black Hawk helicopter on a date that equals 9/11. Now, that's January. Election day, Reagan Airport. Okay, bomb threat, United Airlines, that took off from Bush International Airport, right? So on election day, you now have a United Airlines flight that takes off from Bush Airport, headed to Reagan, the same place the American Airlines American Eagle plane had an issue back in January, and a bomb threat is reported. While New York City, ground zero for 9/11, is facing its most consequential historic election in history. The Reagan Airport incident in January that happened on a date that equals 9/11, and the bomb threat that happened the day of the election from Bush to Reagan are 8 months and 6 days apart. Those two incidents are 8 months and 6 days apart, 86. So you have 8 months, 6 days apart, 86, with the 47th president in office, 86-47. Remember James Comey put out 86-47 May 15th, 2025, which also happens to be a date that equals 9/11. That was the date 86-47 was put out. And that September 11th, 2001, the date that 9/11 happened, to May 15, 2025 is exactly 8,647 days apart. And now you have 8 months and 6 days exactly between the Reagan American Airlines American Eagle incident and now the bomb threat from a United flight that takes off from Bush, who was the president during 9/11, headed to Reagan. So you have America United, bomb threat in the month of 9/11, having to do with the election in New York City. That's ground zero for 9/11. I'm warning you, this is all connected. This is all connected because the enemy is precise and specific about how he chooses target dates and what he does in order to try to align what he wants to accomplish. This is what we're watching happen. You want to go further with this? Charlie Kirk. 9/11 bloodshed in order to power an altar. So this is a recurring theme that in the realm of the spirit, they are trying to align in the natural in order to bring forth something in this nation. So this is why you keep seeing this. Now, to go further with this, at the same time this bomb threat is going on election day, a UPS cargo plane crashes. Now, I'm going to show you the connection here. Here's what we know about the deadly UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky. Day of the election, as the bomb threat's going on from Bush International Airport, United. Now think about this. You have Bush International Airport. You have a United flight. You have it going to Reagan. Back in January, you had the American Airlines flight going to Reagan. America United, 911. They're doing it again. They're just doing it in a different way. But the same symbolism, the same airlines, the same airports, the symbolism. They're doing it again. Now, here's what we know about this plane crash that happened. This horrific plane crash.
All right. So if you caught any of that, I hope at least you heard the line that I said, that they're doing it again, but in a different way. And it just floored me. Plus all of the other things. Now, when I was reading earlier and I had this, the Lord just brought a aha moment, a light bulb moment, whatever you want to call it, a revelation. The fact that in the previous portion, talking about the Ronald Reagan dome, Ronald Reagan is even in a connection with what she was saying. So when I was reading that, it didn't dawn on me until I read that, how even in the Israel part, which I believe this whole thing's connected, it all happened in the same night, and I can just tell that the Lord meant for them to be a connection anyways. I mean, you think about it, the part that I had was that I was seeing a dome covering the Israel sky that was set up by Ronald Reagan. And then there was also what she was saying, a bomb threat currently within our time frame now, and both having to do with bombs. Okay. And then cargo for the UPS cargo crash, that was an airplane crash. And as I was saying earlier, I saw crashes again, but looked like what I saw on 9/11, but I knew it to be different. So it was kind of confusing to me because I did not understand. Mind you, this was 2021 when I had this dream, and there was absolutely nothing to kind of mirror that idea. I encourage you to go watch her full video. I need to finish watching the video, but I had to make this video just based off of that little bit of information I got. There may be more, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I would have included that in this video. And if the case is that, then so be it. But, I mean, you think about it, the Israel connection with those who were in power during that time frame with Bush, in the connection with Reagan, and just all of the different things that were from 9/11 back in the day when I was actually in high school. And like I said before, God gave me a dream when I was 15 about 9/11. So I almost feel like my entire prophetic journey has surrounded 9/11, to be quite honest with you. So the big question is that I know that some of you were probably thinking, what is the point of God revealing any of this, right? Well, first of all, God speaks to us. And for those of us who are listening, which I hope you are, and have eyes to see, ears to hear, that you can see where God is setting up the stage to help you know what things are coming so you can pray against what Satan is trying to do. So that might seem like, well, what's the point? Stuff's going to happen anyways. Not necessarily. You know, we have the power to pray, the ability to pray and intercede on behalf of situations and people, and change comes about when we come into alignment with God's will. Also, preparation. Sometimes God prepares us for seasons that are coming up that are not so great. So I encourage you to be in prayer. Go watch Amanda Grace's video and compare notes to what I had been saying. I'm getting pieces. We only get pieces anyways. We don't get the full puzzle. So I think it's really cool that there's confirmation in what she had said compared to what God had said to me 4 years ago. So God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. His word is never changing. He is a constant in our lives. So no matter what kind of chaotic things are happening in New York City or anywhere else within our world, we can know and understand He is our sure foundation, and that we should run to Him in times of trouble. So we might not be directly affected by what's happening in certain areas, but we can definitely pray for people and circumstances and situations. Most definitely.